Good afternoon, or good evening if you're further east of me, and good morning if you're further west of me. My name is Dale Rodriguez, and this is a Flabonga Monthrothacube. And with me today, I have Tom. What up, Tom?
What up there?
How's it going?
Yeah, very well. Very well. How's it
Um,
going with you?
yeah, I'm pretty good. I was enjoying our post live conversation about wrestling, Randy Orton and RKO's, and John Cena. Like, that's good stuff. Um, for the people that don't know you, let's start with the basics first. I'll explain because I've gotten to know you a little bit. I end up just talking to you, forgetting that other people don't know who you are. First and foremost, what is your full name? Not including middle names. We're not going to go government on you, but Tom
Tom Johnson. We can
Tom
go government
Johnson.
though if you want.
Okay,
Charles is the middle name. That's quite popular at the moment.
Thomas Charles Johnson. That's a good name. Good strong name. I like it. I like it. And what's your national insurance number? I'm joking. I'm
Yeah,
joking. I'm
yeah.
joking.
I've only been at this address for a year, so like, do you need the other?
Yeah, the previous 3 years or 6 years history. All right. Thank you for hearing me, man. I appreciate it. I'll ask the simple questions. What do you do for a living, Tom?
Right now, what I do is I'm
Right now.
self-employed now, as of
Whoop, whoop.
I guess yesterday. Launched the business,
Hmm.
and I really
Congrats.
help accountants, get more leads.
Cool. So is that because you have like a sales background, or
Yeah, so I actually started life out at a sport degree. Started life out as a personal trainer,
Mhm.
and I back in the day would walk the gym floor, would do all different stuff to kind of get loads of leads. So I've had that there, and then I looked after a telephony sales team. So things
Mhm.
like cold calling, sending out mail, like direct mails, all that sort of stuff, and then going into the fintech space. You kind of pick up a
Mhm.
lot of different things at work.
Hmm. You mentioned cold calling. Does that mean you have done cold calls in the past?
Yeah, popular to believe I actually love cold calling. I think it's great.
Well, I was gonna ask you, why do you think it gets such a bad rep, and what's good about it? So why do you think it gets a bad rep, and what did you enjoy about it?
So if you went to Starbucks 5 days in a row,
Hmm.
every day your drink was absolutely rubbish. You had five different drinks, 5 different days, five different people. Every single day it was absolutely awful. You'd probably turn around and go, "Oh, Starbucks is terrible," right? So if you get
Correct.
5, 50, 100 really bad sales calls, you're going to think cold calling is terrible. It's the same. It's where if you speak
Yeah.
to somebody that is, imagine someone calls you and they say, "Hey, look,
Hmm.
can I have this time? Yes or no?" And you're like, "Yeah, cool. I'll give you 5, 10, 20 seconds." Whatever they say really connects with you. They don't want to sell anything to you. They just want to make sure what they have meets what you have. And if you're like, "Yeah, actually, do you know what? You really
Hmm.
get it." You book a meeting, you have the meeting, you then go through the sale, you buy their product or whatever it is, and it changes your life. You're going to be like, "Oh my god, that person is awesome." Still a cold call, same thing, just different perspective.
Interesting. You've kind of answered the next question. I was going to say, but what makes a cold call good? Because we've all experienced the bad ones, all of us.
Yeah, I think also you've got at the same nature of cold calling. You've got a massive, I guess, leap in scam calls, which is just like
Mm.
it's hard to distinguish a genuine sales cold call to then a scam call. So naturally, we have that kind of fear. But what makes a really great cold call is somebody's not trying to sell to you on the phone. Somebody's trying to sell to you on the phone, hang up. If they're just trying to say, "Look, I have this thing. I don't know if it suits
Yep.
you. Can we like have a quick conversation?" And
Yep.
the next action is like a meeting or a demo, or a webinar, whatever it is great. If they're selling to you, hang up on that person. See you later, buddy. No more.
Brutal. 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 Um, what's the last cold call that you received, and did you hang up?
Last call I received was somebody telling me that my free contract was up for renewal and I could get a new iPhone. The problem with that is 102.
Ah, so it wasn't even a cold call; it was a scam.
Yeah. And then if we're thinking cold calls, I can't think of the last like cold call I've had.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not the same thing, but for me, it's LinkedIn DMs. Like so, I say a lot of crap on LinkedIn, which means I've become somewhat prolific to some people. And I get invite requests, and it starts off nice, and then suddenly it's like, bam, pitch slap. And I'm like, if you just read my profile, you realize I'm not the right person to speak to, and I've no influence over what you're selling. You wasted both our time. It's very annoying.
Do you know what and it's probably the worst mistake I've ever made, is I had, and I think it was like a robot saying, do cold DMing for me. And I don't know why I tried it. I think the time I was like, this is what everyone's doing, this is what I should be doing. And that is cold DMing people is probably the worst mistake I've ever made, of just like straight to a pitch. And the one change I did was just change buy my stuff to I help a lot of people that are very similar to you. Do you think it's worth we explore? If not, no worries.
Yeah. I also have tried the automated DMs before. You're right, it's terrible. It doesn't really work in the way that you want it to. I mean, maybe it works. It depends maybe what you're selling, but like, yeah, it backfired for me as well. So, yep, lesson learnt. I have to ask a silly question, by the way, because we've got to keep it lively. If you watched this before, which I know you have, you may have heard this one already, so you might be prepared. If you could eat one meat for the rest of your life, forsaking all others, what meat would you choose?
Pulled pork.
Specifically pulled pork.
Yes.
But you can choose pork, right?
Yeah, I want pulled pork. I want to go as niche as they come. I love it so much. I don't know why.
So,
if you're going every day.
If you're having pulled pork, you're not having any Nando's. You're not having any spaghetti bolognese. Just pulled pork.
Yes, but have you ever had a pulled pork burger?
I have.
Coleslaw.
I don't want to offend you. I am not a huge fan of pulled pork. And do you know why I don't like it that much?
I'm leaving.
The reason I don't like it so much is I often find that people make it and then just smother it in barbecue sauce. I'm like, if it's delicious enough as it is, you shouldn't have to smother it in barbecue sauce. You should just let the meat and maybe the marinade you put on it speak for itself. So that's usually why I don't like pulled pork.
I feel that. It's a bit like if you've got a chicken breast and it's absolutely covered in barbecue sauce to the point where you're like, woof. Same.
Yeah, there's no chickeny flavour, like Hunter's chicken, but like those barbecue sauce, it's like pass. Thank you for humouring me. I know it was a ridiculous question. Back when you were a PT, what was your favourite exercise?
Deadlift. That is the only exercise.
Yeah. And we've talked about this already. What is your PB on the deadlift?
So I actually went to my notes to figure this out. So I have loads of different, like in my phone, I've got so many notes from like PBs and that sort of stuff. At the time, I weighed about 74 kg, 202 for one rep. Unassisted, no straps, no back straps, no nothing. That was...
No belt?
No, for context, that was probably about 5 years in the making.
Man, that's impressive. That's almost Olympic standard level, isn't it? 202 at 75. That's elite level weight.
That's the only, pretty much, other than like, so I'm a big compound lifter. I only really do compound lifts, but deadlift is pretty much, I trained every element from straight leg deadlift to Romanian deadlift to sumo deadlift, really trying to make sure assisting assisting exercises, even things like grip strength, everything. That just became my goal for about 5 years to do that. And I was getting close when I was, so I always go, if you want advanced level, you're kind of looking at 2.5, your body weight. So obviously 75, 2.5 is what, 180 it should be where you're going for. And I kind of hit that. I was doing 160 on 5x5. And I was like, if I can 5x5 and 160, I can get there. And yeah, I just had a lot of pre-workout and I failed so many times, I had one that was like there, dropped it. I was but we got there. And that ever since then, I've never been able to achieve it again. It's one of those, I think everything happens at the right time and you do it and all the conditions are perfect, like a rocket launch, I guess.
No, I don't mean like sometimes like if you don't get the right amount of sleep or you haven't eaten properly the day before, like it can affect a PB. There's actually 2 kilos or 5 kilos. I get that. For the people who don't know, what is 5x5? You said 5x5. What does that mean?
5x5 training is a really great way to increase your strength. So you have the pyramid of training. You have power at the top, strength, hypertrophy, and endurance. And the strength element. So a lot of people, when they say they want to tone up, what they want to do is reduce the amount of fat and increase the amount of muscle. So they sit in hypertrophy. But at some point, you're going to plateau. So you need to go up to the next level. So that's the strength. So 5x5 gives you usually on compound lifts, so like big lifts that recruit multiple muscles, mainly bigger muscles. That's 5x5.
So 5 reps, 5 sets, right? Yeah. And a rep is the movement that you're doing, and you do that 5 times. And doing it 5 times makes 1 set, correct?
Yeah, and by the end of that 5, you want to be absolutely exhausted. And you're talking like upwards of 1.5 minutes to 3 minute rest in between each set.
See, I also like deadlift, and I like squats as well. And I have a love-hate relationship with deadlift because it feels so good when you're strong in it. But in my mind, I could be wrong, it is the most draining of the 5 compound lifts. Like when it comes to like central nervous system fatigue, like I feel tired after I've done deadlifts. Bench press, not so much. And it's not because I'm not trying, by the way. Squats, again, not so much. But the deadlift, I know what about it. It's just like, it just literally just wipes me out.
The deadlift exercise recruits more muscles than any other exercise.
Does it?
In fact, I think
that makes sense.
I think even if you were to take it eccentrically, contraction, so concentric, moving up. So like if I'm doing a bicep curl, concentric, eccentric when the muscle lengthens, and then isometric. I'm pretty sure from my last studies that I read, deadlift recruits every single muscle in the body. That's why it's exhausted. So it's the best exercise as well.
Fair play. I'm really sorry. I've taken you on a tangent that has nothing to do with your current career or vocation. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back. Career progression. You mentioned you used to do cold calling. You've done sales. Let's fast forward to your work in fintech. You have worked for arguably 2, maybe 3 of the best known UK, maybe even globally, fintech startups / scale ups, Xero and Dext. Which one did you prefer working at?
That's a really good question.
You told me to be polarizing.
For me, probably Dext. There's a very specific reason for Dext, and they have.
Care to share?
Anyone that's worked at Dext and works at Dext understands that Dext have this really strong kind of like culture and community in the team, and the way Dext do stuff is not like anybody else. And I think it helped with like what I was doing at Dext. I had a really close knit team. So some of the guys like Nick, they'll work really closely. Like we're still good friends now. So that's probably why.
Sorry, Nick who? Who's Nick?
Nick Dent.
Okay.
So Nick Dent was, funny enough, you're wearing the Sage top. He was the Sage Global Sage Partnership Manager for Dext. He works at IFS now, but yeah, bit of a legend. Very nice guy.
Okay, so Dext over Xero to work for. You preferred Dext at the time. I'm tempted to ask you mean questions, but I don't want to get you in trouble.
Fine.
Okay, what did you dislike about working at Xero?
Do you know what? I think it's more of a personal thing. With Xero, when I joined, it was quite intimate. Teams weren't very big. And I joined at the peak, like kind of the point at where Xero really it got to the point where doubling in size meant you're not going from 1 to 2, you're going from like 250,000 to 500,000, like that in terms of, as an example. So I think where I joined and had this really intimate experience, getting to know lots of different people, lots of different departments, just naturally as the business scaled and grew, you kind of lose that a little bit. And that's probably the dislike.
Okay. Of the places you worked, who had the coolest employees? There you go. Which team was cooler? Dext or Xero?
At Dext and Xero?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one.
And by cool, I mean effortlessly cool. Like if you had your all-star lineup from Xero and all-star lineup from Dext, and your crew rocked up, who'd be in there and be like, "Oh, damn, that crew's cool. Who's the coolest?"
Oh, I think in my time, I mean, Xero was, when I was at Xero, was quite a big side, because like people like, Dan Cockerton, who runs DAS. Dan used to work then when I used to work, and what he's gone on to go do and achieve.
Cool dude.
Pretty mega. And GT, Gary Turner, he used to work there as well. So I think Gary Turner's presence alone is enough to win that battle.
Fair play. Thank you for humouring me. Okay, so you mentioned that you, as of today or yesterday, have started your own business. What's the name of your business?
Lead Flow Lab.
Lead Flow Lab, as in laboratory.
Exactly right.
Does that imply that there is a science to getting leads?
Yeah, the idea is that, so what works for me isn't going to work for you. And just because one accountant does something really well, it's not going to necessarily work for you, because you have different clients, you have different tones of voice. What you need to do is just understand, what is that for you and what is that for your client. The only way you'll get there is by experimenting and do a lot of A/B testing. Hence the lab. Once you get that bit right, the leads will flow.
Cool. I'm going to ask you a question I already know the answer to, but I just want to simplify. What is A/B testing?
Yeah, A/B testing is where you have essentially two. I'm going to explain it in an example, but yeah, basically, you say, for example, you're sending out an email and you have a subject line. Same email, two different subject lines. You might say, I'm going to send this email to 1,000 people. Send it to the first 100 people. Out of the first 100 sends, which subject line gets the most engagement or most opens, then go and send that one the most. So it's a case of just looking at 2 or maybe 3 different ideas, testing them against an audience, and then going with the one that works best.
Okay. In your opinion, why are accountants so bad at sales?
Well, yeah, because you're accountants. No, it's because you're great accountants. Like, you can't, like, it's like asking Buffon, why are you great at goalkeeping but not great at scoring goals? Great at stopping them, but you're not great at scoring them, because he practices to be a goalkeeper. It's just they don't practice it. That's it.
Okay. So in theory, if accountants were trained in sales, they might be better at getting leads and getting sales.
Yeah, and they also had the expert conundrum as well that a lot of people suffer with. Do you know what that is?
Please
I don't know if it's a thing. I always talk about it and made it up, maybe. I call it the expert conundrum. Is when you are an expert in something, you really know something, you don't necessarily always listen to the person opposite the table. So an accountant is really, really great at understanding what they do, all the intricacies, everything. So it can be really easy for you to assume that somebody either has these problems, or assume what that person wants, thinks, or feels, or hijack a conversation rather than actually listening to the person with an open mind. And as soon as you start assuming, you're not really listening to what the person opposite you wants, and then that's where you'll lose them.
I never heard it put that way, but that makes perfect sense. Yeah, thank you. And I'm also now thinking back in my mind, was I actually listening to you, or was I just assuming?
It's so hard, right?
Because it's really hard, isn't
it? Exactly right. And every single person does it, where we're listening to somebody and we're thinking about the next thing we're going to say. And actually, you're never truly in a conversation if you think like that. And being an expert, someone says something and you go, okay, they have all these problems, they're going to go down this avenue here. But that might not be the thing that the person wants. So you're taking down a garden path and like, okay, they're great, but I didn't quite feel that they understood me. Not their problems, their pains, their business, me. And that's usually where people go wrong.
I think I'm asking the same question over and over again, but I'm going to ask a different way. What pain do you solve for the people you're targeting?
Yeah, most accountants rely solely on referrals, and at some point, those referrals have like a limit.
Terrible tactic.
Yeah, well, yes and no, because if it's what's worked for your business and got you to a specific point, then it's great. But there's a lot of businesses, and the ones that I really help are, you're talking kind of 1 to 3 partners, where maybe you're somewhere between 5 and 10 years in your business, and you've built quite a good business on referrals mainly, but you want to get to that next level of growth, and for whatever reason you can't do it. Maybe you're posting on LinkedIn and you've got only other accountants and people that aren't your target audience interacting with it. You maybe did a blog and no one read it. You sent a couple of like cold emails out and all you got was unsubscribe. And for whatever reason, it's not working.
Yep.
Those people, that's...
Do a live stream, no one watches it. I get on with you. Yeah. Sorry, I think I'm funny. It's my best and worst trait.
I think you're funny.
Yeah. Thanks. Sorry, I interrupted you.
You got that $5 though for me saying that, right? Yeah. Remember our pre-agreement? Tell me. Yeah. I don't think we could. I generally don't think we could do this again. We're just going to get all it will be is giggles. Imagine just the edit of this is just giggles.
So I do use AI to edit this, and hopefully the AI picks up on just the giggles because I'm enjoying the giggles. Okay. Would you like a silly question or a business-related question next?
I would like a combination of, I want a business question asked in a silly manner.
That's a good challenge. Bear with me as I formulate.
Whilst Dale thinks, you could head to leadflowlab.co.uk and...
Mate, no one's watching. Okay. If your revenue was measured in building height, what was your target revenue in centimeters?
Oof. Target height.
No, actually, let's make it sillier. What's your target revenue in cheese singles? You know, the little crappy plastic cheese you put on burgers when you have a barbecue.
Oof. To define that, what is one cheese slice equivalent to?
Well, let's go for the thickness of a cheese slice, which I think is about 3 to 4 millimeters, right?
3 to 4 milliliters. Okay, cool. Within the first year revenue,
first year revenue.
That's my max. Probably 25 to 30 thick. No, 250 to 300 thick cheese slices.
All right. Okay. Sorry, you caught me off guard there. You're the first person that's challenged me to ask a question of that nature, and that's the best I could come up with, which is pretty weak, if I'm honest. I'm disappointed in myself. Who do you think is a better wrestler, Randy Orton or John Cena?
Oof. I think Randy Orton is a better wrestler. John Cena is a better entertainer.
Okay. And then I got to ask the question, John Cena or The Rock?
The Rock. Oh, he's my childhood hero.
Yeah?
Yeah. What about you? Who are you going with?
Like all-time favorites or John Cena versus The Rock?
John Cena versus The Rock.
Again, it's The Rock. I think we're a similar age, you and I. I might be a bit older. But yeah, The Rock was and still is the people's champion. And I recall when he teamed up with Mankind as well, which was just the best combination ever.
Yeah,
so
man.
Good.
And you had that whole, just as well, the Hardy Boy, Chris and Edge, and the Dudley Boys. Oh, that was such a good era.
Oh, the 3D, possibly the best tag team finisher of all time. Devon, get the table. For people who don't know this, by the way, just Google like the Dudley Boys, on YouTube finisher. It's just that. Yeah. Oh wait, hold. Marcus Batson. How is The Rock going to win against someone he can't see?
Oh goodness. That is a good one. Don't know, but The Rock is obviously the final boss, right? So I guess it's final boss powers.
You say that, but being the fitness geek that I am, I watch fitness YouTube channels, not the influencers, the actual proper ones. And I can't remember the name of the guy. He is a sports scientist and he critiques celebrity training regimens, right? And 99% of the time they're trash, right? Like he looks at like Hollywood transformation. He's like, this only works if you're on juice. He critiqued John Cena's training, and John Cena is an absolute beast, juice or no. Like, dude is squatting like 200 kg for like 8 reps for 3 sets. Like, ridiculous. Like, he trains, and like the depth was fantastic. Like, he's an exceptional athlete as well. I mean, we know they're all juicing, but yeah.
Yeah. Good entertainment, I guess.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been tempted to try it. I have. I haven't done it, but I've been tempted.
If you've
But the
been
risk
tempted,
versus reward is
I
there.
would go to James Smith's Instagram page, and he does some reviews back when he did it.
All the horrible side effects, I assume. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Wait, how do you know Marcus? Do you know Marcus Batson at all or not?
I'm terrible with names. I think
Swoop,
yes.
capitalize. Okay. Or maybe he's just here to see me. I don't know. He's been on the show before. It was a great episode. We talked about a lot of grime, to be honest. I kind of latched onto that. He told me like grime, so I asked him loads of questions about grime. There's like hardly any business conversation whatsoever. What kind of music do you like, by the way?
I like everything. I have a playlist that goes from, I could go Fleetwood Mac straight to J. Cole. There's not really.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, don't really have it.
What do you listen to when you're working out?
Probably like hip hop rap, so like 50 Cent, pretty much on repeat. I always used to start a gym workout with Disco Inferno. Every workout would start with that, and then do you know the song Disco reals? Inferno? Yeah, mate. I used to start.
Thinking the song I'm thinking of is "Burn, Baby, Burn, Disco Inferno." Is that the song?
No, it's not. That is no 50 Cent's version of Disco Inferno. That's great
because I'm messing. It's very different to the. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to search that later. For me, "Till I Collapse" by Eminem, featuring Nate Dogg. Excellent work.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. "Sing for the Moment" is also like just as Aerosmith, just hit that like that bit, and you're ready to, and then it goes into the "Sing for the Moment" chorus, so you're just about to start your bench press. Oof, chills.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other silly questions I can ask you. Or shall I ask you another serious question? Oh, bear with me as I process. Feel free to promo yourself whilst I'm processing, by the way. What was it called again? Lead Lab.
Lead Flow Lab.
Lead Flow Lab.
Oh.
Okay. Why should accountants and bookkeepers work with you? Why you? There are bare lead gen people around, bruv. Why you?
Yeah, there's people that create lead gens for accountants. There are people that help our accountants, and it's great. Like, they do a great job. But for me, I have a coaching degree, and all I want to do is give accountants the foundation so they understand exactly what it is to be a lead. So we're not talking about sales, we're not talking about marketing, we're talking very specifically about lead gen, which is one of the biggest issues that people struggle with. And I want to give them the foundations, but coach it to them in the way that my degree taught me how to, so that people walk away with real actionable insights that not only are they going to walk away with like a foundational knowledge, but it's going to be very, very specific to them and their client. And that's all I'm trying to achieve, is that bit there. And I've helped, like I said, I've helped a lot of firms that are that 1 to 3 partners, 5 to 10 years growth. Those are the people that seem to resonate with the most.
Okay. Lasagna or spaghetti bolognese?
Probably lasagna, but I do make a bolognese, and I always whack chorizo in it, like a spicy chorizo in there as well. So tough one, but I just don't think you can beat lasagna.
Okay. I like that. Leads on to the next question. Do you have like a signature dish that you like to prepare? Like, if you're trying to entertain or impress people, like just like you're in the kitchen, I'm going to show off. What do you make?
Yeah, probably like a Tokyo ramen. So like the pork, like a soy pork Tokyo ramen.
See, I like ramen, and I've tried preparing it, but it takes so long to make. Like if you're gonna like do proper like Japanese, it takes like hours, like hours. I have time for that.
But if you fall in love with the process, then the people are going to fall in love with the food.
That was the most salesy thing I've ever heard. That was fantastic.
I thought as I said it, I was so chuffed with saying it. I really wanted to make it sound so like as cheesy as possible, so I could take that snippet.
It was kind of deep. It was kind of deep. Hopefully,
really
hopefully the AI will capture it. I mean, I might edit manually for just for that.
Do you know something really funny? Is we got Asian supermarket down the road, and I bought a pre-done Tokyo like ramen base, and on the front of the packet it says exactly that. Fall in love with the process. So I'll be honest with you, that came from a £3 bottle of ramen base.
Mate, it was deep. It was profound, and I mocked you for it. I'm sorry. There was no need for that mockery. I realise I've asked you lots of questions. Do you have any particular questions for me?
You've just, am I right thinking, joined as an advisor or board for Dext? Did I see that correctly?
That is correct. I have.
What are you doing there?
Give them advice. Sorry, that's not a very helpful answer, is it? That's very closed. I got invited to give feedback on the product and just be a sounding board. They've got lots of ideas. Sabi, their CEO, great guy. Got Paul Lodder, who's been with Dext for a while, who worked in practice for 20 years. They all have ideas. They've got a great sales team, as you already know. And they're just like, you know what? Before we do some of this stuff, let's ask people if it's a good idea. Or let's give people a heads up. And if the idea is good, but it needs tweaking, let's see if we can implement it. And that's what happens. So it's not just me, by the way. There's another member of my team. Her name's Chloe. She's also in on the advisory calls. And there's a few other firms, UK firms, that are in on it. But essentially just go, we're thinking of doing this. Do you think it's a good idea? And we'll go, yes, no, maybe. Or it would be good if you did this thing extra. And they go, okay, that's a good idea. That's pretty much it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I guess probably the most important question out of everything is, what's your favorite exercise?
My favorite exercise. I like different exercises for different reasons. So I'm not gonna lie. For vanity, I like the squat. I'm very good at it. I'm pretty strong on my squat. My current PB is about 170 kilos. My all-time personal best is 200 kilos for 3 reps. And I mean, like, good reps, right? So I like that because I know I'm strong at that. That's great. But I don't know. Then, like, favorite exercise for sensation, it sounds really weird. I love a declined dumbbell bench press. I find when I do a dumbbell bench press, it works my pecs better than a barbell bench press. And if I'm doing hypertrophy training, I like the burn. So when I can feel that, the muscle soreness the next day, DOMS, whatever it is, that also feels good. So in terms of actual muscular fatigue, decline dumbbell bench press for showing off squats. And I also like a hex bar deadlift. I know it's easier than a regular deadlift. You can mock me all you want, but again, I like it because I can show off I'm pretty strong in it. My PB is 280 for 3 reps. So yeah, it depends on what I'm lifting and why I'm lifting. I've given you 3 different answers, and they're all show-off answers.
They are all show-off answers, but you spoke most about the decline bench press, dumbbell bench press, so I think that seems to be your favourite.
You think so?
You spoke about them. You spoke about them most. You're more engaged when
maybe
you're
it is
speaking
my
about
favourite.
that. So I'm going to go. Maybe that is.
I just like the way I like the way it feels. I like the way it feels.
Yeah.
Like whenever I do it, like I feel the most muscle activation or pain after the next day. I know I've done that workout well.
I used to do one, and hopefully you can try it. At the end of my chest workout, I'd go and I call them the trio of flies. So go to the cable machine, like a double cable machine, and do flies from high, do 12, flies from the middle, and then flies raising from the base.
I have done that. It hurts. It hurts.
Oh.
What's your least favourite exercise?
Ooh, least favourite exercise. I hate lat pull down.
Really?
Like a traditional lat pull down. I don't mind closed grip. lat pull down, but normal lat pull down. I think I don't know. I just don't enjoy it. For whatever reason, I've never got on with the exercise.
Okay, good to know. Interesting. I enjoy it, but yeah. For me, it's either calf raises or burpees. One of the two. I think I dislike burpee because I'm out of shape cardio-wise. That's why. If I was better at cardio, I'd probably like them more. And then
Quite
calf
possibly.
raises just, they're always painful. And I never see any gains, ever. Ever. Just enjoying the silence, by the way.
Sometimes great silences are. I think a lot of people get uncomfortable in silences, don't they? They feel like they have to fill the gap.
Well, do you know what's really weird? Sometimes I just do it for fun, for my own amusement. Like we'll be in like a meeting and no one says anything. I'll just like, I'm just going to sit here. It's fun, isn't it? I guess this is one of the downsides of not preparing questions. Like if I haven't thought of questions well enough advanced, then there is a certain element of silence.
You should have like a little soundboard that you can play like when you're thinking of songs or songs of questions, like little chimes and stuff. You know, like radio presenters have. And you can just play these little different ones.
You know what? That's been suggested to me before, and you're the second person to suggest it. I might give it a go. I'll just need to figure out how to actually do that. But yeah, I have no idea how I would do that, but I'm sure it can be done. Oh, I clicked on a button I shouldn't have clicked on. Cool. I can't think of anything else to ask you. Would now be a good time to end this?
I think so. I think if we're out of questions,
Yep.
we'll call it a day. See you later.
One final question. If you could drop any nugget of wisdom, business related or otherwise, for the audience before we go, what would that nugget of wisdom or advice be?
I think, based on what I do, focus on the lead gen. Focus, specifically lead generation. Focus on the person you want to speak to. Focus on your own tone of voice. If you're super serious, be super serious. If you're funny, be funny. Don't look at what everybody else is doing and some of the people that seem to have loads of followers, loads of people coming to them. Don't try and replicate what they are doing, because it won't match up with you. You have to be you. And the only way you can do that is by understanding your client, understanding how do you talk, marry them up together, and go from there. If your ideal client isn't on LinkedIn, but they're on Instagram, I'll catch you on Instagram. You don't have to copy what everyone else is doing at all, ever, because you might just be missing the people that you actually want because you're trying to be someone else.
Thank you.